Hello. There's no one here. Well, that's embarrassing. Oh, we've got two people here. That's great. Okay, so I hope you guys have been getting on well with your character questions. I forgot to mention last time that characters can also be based on people from documentaries. I don't know if anybody's been watching Tiger King, but the characters in that are fucking brilliant. One of my favourites actually is Carol Baskin, who's like this psychopath that kind of just smiles through everything. So remember that documentary is also a really good place to find your characters. So let's get, so should you have found your characters? If you're not, and still work on it. We've got dialogue. I know it's going to sound dull, but it's actually one of the most important things that is going to sell your script to these production companies, because within the first page the dialogue's got to be spot on, because that's going to be the thing that people go, oh my god, these characters actually talk like real human beings. And yeah, I should keep on reading the script. Just really interesting things on dialogue. Really listen. I mean, it's so obvious, but to people's conversations, and even like weird grammatical things. For example, like Kerry's mum, we decided to put S's on the end of pretty much every word that she says. So like space stations instead of space station, or I can't even think of another example, but like small little things like that actually make a character suddenly like three-dimensional. The first few pages of your script, because remember we're trying to get 10 pages, a treatment and character profiles, and that's your package to send to these production companies. And I'm going to recap by saying production companies are absolutely desperate for new talent, so there is absolutely no reason why you don't stand as good a chance as your Phoebe Waller-Bridges and anyone else out there. Okay, so the first few pages of your script are going to be hard because you have to establish who your characters are in a really short space of time. We're lucky because how we did a mockumentary, Curtin and Kerry can literally tell the camera who their characters are, because a documentary maker would be asking them questions. But if you're not doing a mockumentary and you're doing more of a drama or comedy, you've got to think of kind of clever ways of getting your character across without using exposition. And for those who don't know what exposition is, because I didn't know what it was, is basically underlining what you're saying about your character. So I'll go quickly. You should where am I? Okay, so this example. So I once saw a TV drama about two young men, and the script writer wanted to get across that they were brothers to set the story, right? And this was like in one of the first scenes, and it went something like this. Now bear with me because I've got books. Bears to do an example of how I think that this is bad writing. So these are two young lads, and the scriptwriter wants to show that they're brothers. So guy one says, hey, and the guy two says, hey, you okay? Guy one says, sure, and guy two says, there's something wrong, I'm your brother, I can tell. Now, who says that? Obviously he wanted to get across that they're brothers, but nobody. I've seen it done so many times where people go, look, I'm your brother or I'm your sister, so just talk to me. And it's like, oh, right, so you want us to know that they're brother and sister. That is like a really bad way of writing. And you shouldn't have to say that. Charlie doesn't come up to me and say, hey, I'm your brother, I can tell something's wrong. A really good way, well, how I would have done it, getting a relationship across without underlining it should have gone something like this. So this is guy 1, this is guy 2. So guy 1 says, you need to call mum. Guy 2 says, I'll speak to her later. Guy 1 says, she's worried about you. Guy 2 says, she's always worried about me. So they've both used the words mum. Somebody just said, so he should have said, how's mum? Exactly. It's those sort of, it seems so obvious. And it's those sort of things that that you should do. I mean, just say, I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I got a bit lost. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to get across. Moving on. Now I want to try and get, so within these first couple of pages, I want you to try and get your character to tell the audience who they are without actually telling them. So you can also use stage directions. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the film Up, but in the first few opening scenes, like the credits, there's a lovely bit where you find out that they're very happily married, but they can't have kids, and that's all done without any dialogue. So somebody said, be subtle and natural, I guess is to the point. Yeah, so be subtle and natural and use interesting ways of getting this across in your first few pages. So I've got you some more homework to do. If you found your characters, I want you to have a go at just doing a couple of scenes. They're not going to be scenes in your script. They're just for an exercise. So I want you, so number 1, if you've got your notebooks, how can you show that your characters are friends without telling the audience? That's a really good, it's a fun scene to be able to write. Number 2, how can you show that characters are related? Like what I've just done. Number 3, how can you show your characters were once in a relationship but it ended badly without telling us, hey, we were in a relationship, right? But it kind of ended badly. Number 4, how can you show your character was once an alcoholic? That's actually quite a hard one to do. And don't think, oh, I'll just put like empty beer bottles around, because that doesn't really work. And yeah, so that's that for now. But I think it's just getting you a bit closer. I also want to talk about your character's dialogue. One of the best ways to find out how your character actually talks is to pretend they're on a blind date. So remember those 2 character questions I asked you first time round, which were number 1, how does your character, how do other people see your character? And number 2 was, how does your character see themselves? And this is a really good one to try and put your character into a blind date scenario. As I'm saying, this isn't in your script, it's just an exercise. And the only 2 questions that your blind date should ask your character, if you've got in your notebooks, is number 1, how are you? So that's, it sounds simple, but there's so many different ways of answering that. If you've got quite a depressive character, that can come across quite well, being asked, how are you? Number 2 is, question number 2 is, tell me about yourself. And then let's see what your character has to say. And that's really interesting. I think that's actually better than doing like a full-blown backstory, because I want to see that character saying their own words about their history. They could even lie. That's, you know, it depends what kind of character they are. But those are the 2 questions that I think will really help you find out how they talk and who they are. So I suppose that's it for now. I just want to reiterate that I will be looking up some good production companies who I think that you guys should send your script to. So then I'll make like little groups of, like, if you want to send, if you're going to work on a drama, who you should send it to. If you want to work on a comedy, who you should send it to. If you want to do radio, or if you want to do like comedy sketches. And I'll try and figure out who the best people are for what. This also applies to books, like for publishers, what are good publishers. So yeah, just it would be really helpful actually if you can kind of DM me and let me know what sort of thing that you're wanting to write, so I can start putting those groups together of who you should be contacting. Okay, I'm gonna go, because I'm gonna go watch the rest of Tiger King.